I'm Christina Klepp, the editorial director for Videography magazine, and I'm here with Bob Russo from Avid. Bob has worked in the professional film and video production business for over 13 years. As the editor, or senior editor, of over 200 long-form programs, he has a strong background in offline and online editing, legalizing, and color correcting. His work has appeared on the Learning Channel, PBS, Fox, NBC, and Bravo, to name a few. Now Bob is a senior application editor for Avid, where he works with post and broadcast customers to promote Avid's industry-leading professional workflows. So give us an overview of the tapeless workflow options within the Avid Media Composer, and let's start with HDV.
The new Sony cameras actually record straight to compact flash media. Record an MPEG file straight to compact flash. That M2T file, that MPEG file, is natively supported in the Avid. So it's literally just a drag and drop or a file import, and it's not being transcoded on the import. The native HDV codec supported, and it's literally just a rewrap.
And then how about XDCAM EX using the S/S cards?
So Media Composer, Newscutter, Symphony, all products, all the Avid products have the XDCAM EX codec native in the editor. It requires the MP4 file to be rewrapped as an MXF file, but Avid and Sony have worked really closely together, and using the Sony Clip Browser software, they're quickly rewrapped and it's available immediately, much faster than real time.
And how about XDCAM Optical using professional disc media?
Avid has all the XDCAM HD and SD codecs native inside the editor, so you can literally just batch import the low res and import the high res. So the codecs work right in, all the metadata is transferred during the import.
Bob, Sony professional tapeless cameras, including HDV and XDCAM, record files using an MPEG-2 long GOP compression algorithm. Can you explain how Avid handles that?
Avid has all of the Sony codecs native in the editor, be it HDV, XDCAM EX, or XDCAM HD. They're all in the editor, and when you import these files, they're just a rewrap. They're not actually transcoded. So inside the Media Composer, the native codec is used for the edit. So it's a much more efficient, much faster way to edit. So Avid and Sony have worked together really closely to really optimize the performance of the Sony long GOP codecs. So it's really amazing the picture quality that Sony's able to get out of compared to the file size that the cameras record. So when you're moving from a standard def workflow to a high def workflow, one of the big concerns is always that the difficulties with managing file sizes. With XDCAM, with all the XDCAM HD codecs, that's not an issue at all. The file sizes are remarkably small and very efficient, and performance is really incredible. So if you compare it to other codecs, if you compare it to like a DVC Pro HD, which is a much larger codec compared to XDCAM HD, and the performance is almost equal between the two codecs.
So you're really addressing issues of storage capacity as well.
Right. Well, with XDCAM codecs, there's really no problem with storage. Compared to SD, the storage is actually certainly much smaller than uncompressed SD. It's essentially the same as what we were doing in mini DV, is that you're actually recording that type of file, but yet in HD with really pristine quality, pristine picture quality, and performance that really just matches any other codec.
Describe how editors can mix different formats within the timeline.
In the Media Composer and Newscutter, Avid has what's referred to as open timeline. So that means that any codec, any supported codec, can be put into the timeline and played in real time without having to transcode to the same codec. So in one sequence, you may have an A camera that's shooting XDCAM HD 50 megabit, and then you're doing some behind the scenes with a B camera that might be shooting to the compact flash with HDV. Both codecs will play in the same timeline at the same time at full quality. You don't need the transcode. They can both go out the tape that way. So it's really stellar performance in the Media Composer.
How do editors using Avid NLEs ingest, edit, and output XDCAM optical material?
With XDCAM, there's actually 3 different methods to use it. So there's the old school tape-based method where you actually have RS-422 for deck control, serial deck control, and you can actually capture HDI or SDI into the editor. You really don't want to do that because you really defeating the benefits of all the tapeless workflow. But it's there, and that's really a nice feature about XDCAM HD, is that you have that sort of backup if you need to work in linear type style workflow.
Sure, yeah.
But you can also do what's referred to as FAM mode, which is file access mode. Now you'll connect the XDCAM deck to the Avid via USB or FireWire, depending on the deck, and that mounts on the desktop like a hard drive. Those files can be imported into the Avid directly. Again, no transcode, native codec support, and they come right into the editor, and you can start editing with them right away. And there's also Ethernet support for the XDCAM decks. And now this is where you'd actually put your deck on your local area network, and you'd be able to browse the XDCAM HD deck either using Avid software or even third-party software. NL Tech makes a piece of software called SAT-AI, which actually allows you to browse the XDCAM HD disk, add metadata, and pull them in automatically, even with unassisted, sort of automatic ingest of XDCAM HD. It's really, really fantastic product.
So walk us through the process, the same ingest, editing, output process with HD 422 50 megabits.
One of the new things in Media Composer 3.0 and Newscutter 7.0 and Symphony 3.0 is that we actually have the support for the XDCAM HD 422 50 megabit codec in the editor. The normal workflow with working with XDCAM is that you'd actually pull in the proxy file. So when you shoot with XDCAM, there's actually proxies are recorded right away. These proxy files come in incredibly fast into the editor because they're very, very small, and they come in super fast. So you can edit your entire offline sort of with these proxy files, and then batch import just the high-res files for whatever you need for your online. So it's a great, great workflow with the FAM workflow.
Tell us a little bit about the Avid integration with the Sony PDZ-1 software.
So Avid and Sony have a really great partnership, and one of the things is one of the outcomes of that is the PDZ-1 software. So this software, you can actually use a laptop and connect the deck to the laptop, and then you can actually log the disk. You can play the clips and add what's referred to as essence marks. So these essence marks can be added also by the camera on the fly, and these essence marks are translated into the Avid as locators. So with the PDZ-1 software, you could actually type whatever you want in there. You could type a novel, so you can add all these essence marks all the way through, and then essentially add all that metadata, add all that information about your clip. And then when you import those into the Avid, there's an option to turn those into locators. And so all that metadata will come all the way through the edit. There's also in the PDZ-1 software has the option of adding what's referred to as a good shot flag. So each clip, as someone's logging the disk, they can actually have the option of saying, well, this is a good take, this is not a good take. And in the Avid, there's an option to only import clips with good shot flags. So when you're when you're importing the disk, you can automatically have it import and only the clips that has been designated as with good shot flags come in. And then finally, you can actually create a shot list inside the PDZ-1 software. This will create an AAF file. You can import that into the Avid, which will be a sequence, and then batch import the clips and essentially have an A-roll already together using the PDZ-1 software. So it's a great relationship between Avid and Sony, and the PDZ-1 software is a perfect example of that.
So highlight for us some of the cool new features in the latest Media Composer release.
Sure. Well, certainly the really exciting feature is 50 megabit 422 support.
Exactly. In
this release, right? That's very exciting. So we added native codec support for the XDCAM HD 50 megabit in this release. But really the big news is it's kind of like what you really can't see it. It's really under the hood. So with this release, the whole player and effects engine have been completely rewritten inside the Media Composer. This is the fastest and most stable version of the Media Composer, for years now, probably 10 years. And so the performance, especially with XDCAM HD, is really, really incredible in this release. We've added a number of small features, where you can actually have real-time timecode plugin, so it actually read the timecode from the sequence or your source clips, and an open caption plugin for visual captioning. So it's a great, great release, and 50 megabit support just being one of the features.
Bob Russo, thank you so much.
The pleasure's mine. Thank you.